I'm FairyLiveShow, a huge fan of detective games, true crime, and world mysteries. I'm ready to explore the unexplored, dive deep into the unknown details of any mystery case, and
with my beliefs in spirituality and interest in the abnormal and strange, I always was fascinated and terrified by the true crimes and the mysteries of our time. I am KiwaPlay and I consider myself a space witch, so it's time to bring some light into the dark. Let's investigate.
Welcome to the Mystery Monday. Today it is the very first episode, the pilot episode, and we're talking about the local files. That means that each of us, we're sharing a local story, a true crime story that is maybe unknown, maybe not, but very interesting to share. So I'm going to take you to Greece around the 90s. And it is New Year's Eve. So that was the question around this New Year's Eve in 1993. Where is Little Nick? And Ermioni, it is called Ermioni. It is a very small village in Greece. So let's start from the beginning. So at this point, Nick is a 6-year-old boy and he went missing. And Nick is actually the youngest of his 6 other brothers and sisters. It is a very big family living in a small village. And as it is a small village, like talking about 2K people living there and mostly elder people and stuff. But it is a place, it is a village that everybody knows each other, and it is like a very small community. So the parents were worried about little Nick been missing, and they said that they're going to go to the police. The police here, they say that if it is a child, we gotta wait for like 48 hours and then search for it. But also the community was searching for the little Nick, and everybody was so worried about this. So it was all over the place, a missing photo of him and everything. But what really amazed the police back then was that the parents went to the police and asked for help and said, we lost our child and everything. But the father said, my kid is dead and nowhere to be found. That was kind of a red flag back then, because like when your child is missing, you don't go out and say it is dead. No parent says that. Everybody's saying we gotta find it, or if you abducted him,
I hope
like
it's alive.
yeah, I hope it's alive. Like send a message, show me something or something, you know. Mm-hmm. So right after this happened, the Greek media started covering the whole story so that they can help, you know, and everything. And it was kind of a public thing back then. So the father, it is called Manolis Douris, and he was publicly plead. He was in tears and he was asking for help. He was like, I want to find my child. I'm calling everybody to help to find my child. But most of the times he was using this past sentences like my son was and my son did and everything. And it was again like saying that my son is dead. I know it now. I need to find the killer instead of finding my son, you know?
Yeah.
So let's take a look at a little bit of the background. So this is Manolis. This is the father. And in fact, they both look like the father. But the second smaller picture is his wife. He is married to Georgia. And they lived with their 7 kids in Hermione for years. Both
Also
of them.
7 kids, imagine.
Yes, so many kids. And they both struggled. They are both like worked their asses off. They're struggling to make a living. And Manolis actually was a builder and a painter. And he was trying to get some jobs over there. So a few days later, little Nick was found dead. And his father found him along with one of his brothers. And he was concealed under a fence surrounding around their house. And that was strange again, because, found by their father to a place around their house, when nobody knew how to get there and everything.
Yeah.
Now,
and you would suspect that that's the first place they search for.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, for sure. But the fact that the father knew exactly where he was at, and this place where kind of, only the residents and only the people who lived there would have known about this place and everything. So that raised police suspicious, of course, and the local community then started talking. And at that point, the police and the media was at Hermione, this little place, all this time. But at first, the residents were kind of like in a mystery, and they were talking like, I don't know, I don't want to talk about it. I don't know this family. But it is a very little village, so everybody knew each other. Some of the people would said like, I don't know, I cannot talk, but the family is sus. So at first, they didn't talk about it. But when the little kid found dead, they started talking. And it is a big why. Like, why are you start talking now instead of just pointing fingers when you already knew that something was going on? So they said that the father was really abusive with his kids. He was beating them up. He was swearing at them. He was letting them in a very poor condition, sometimes even barefoot, running around the house, not even going to school, some of them, and not even going to the school to ask how are they going, how are they doing with their classes and everything. So in the meantime, the father was making kind of public statements, and at that point, that of course his son was found dead, he was not asking for help. He was just threatening the killer and saying, I'm gonna find him and I'm gonna rip his off and I'm gonna do this to him and I'm gonna do this to that, and crying a lot in public, like gathering all of the media to talk about this thing. And also he was claiming that the local community was all against him and that they were trying to frame him.
Of course.
And yeah, that was kind of weird at that point, because why should a whole community try to frame you when you should have been worried about your kid right now?
Yeah.
So at some point, he started accusing a 76-year-old countryman that he was actually a neighbor to have sexually abused one of his children. At first, that is like a weird situation, because he didn't even talk about this for all of this time. The kid's name was Nick. But this wasn't the child that was sexually abused by the neighbor. It was another child. And back then, for this kind of thing about this other kid, there were some law papers that they exchanged with each other. At first, it saw that Manolis sued the 76-year-old for sexually abusing his child, but right after some period, he took it back and he said, "Nope, false alarm, nothing happened, it's okay." I'm going to tell you about this. I'm going to get back to it a little later. So as the case moving forward and the investigation is moving forward, more strange facts were coming to the surface. And this is getting sick here at that point. So it was found that the 6-year-old child passed away from asphyxiation. That was from everybody who saw the crime scene and everything. So he passed away from asphyxiation, they said, and he was sexually molested. So because such crimes are kind of a usual in Greece, everybody during the 90s was concerned about this because they heard that kind of the very first time of their lives or something. So that's why the press and the community was all over the place. So slowly, the tragic figure of the father was losing his figure and transforming into a more monstrous one, you would say. So the police started focusing a little bit more on him and try to figure out what happened with him and everything. Although he was kind of, devastated and seemed like he was so sad and everything. And he was telling everybody about, "I'm going to find the killer. I'm going to do this to him and I'm going to do this to that." They started interrogate him for like hours and hours and hours. And because he was saying kind of different stories each time, the police was a lot more suspicious on him. And they were questioning lots of people, the family, the kids, the other 6 brothers and sisters of Nick were saying, like, "The father is good to us. He's a good person and everything." And the police asked them, like, "Is he beating you up or something?" And they were like, "It's okay. He did it a little, but we needed that to be better." And the teachers were very concerned about these kids because they were saying that they're not reacting the way a kid should react. They're not like kids. They are mostly causing troubles and stuff like that. So after hours and hours and hours of interrogation, Manolis Duris confessed that his son Nick returned to the house at that day really late. He was very concerned about where he was and very worried about his kid and everything. So he started yelling at him. And he says that he lost his grip and started beating him up a little bit and then killed him during the fight. So that was a little bit different, that what happened actually, and the findings of the police were kind of different. So this could be true if the kid wasn't sexually molested. And also the fact with the asphyxiation was not that clear at that point. So that was still on a question. So after a while, the local community started talking more and more about it, and they start opening their mouths a little bit wider on this. And it was found that Manolis Duris was not only threatening and treating his kids badly and everything, but also extraditing them for money. So he was using his kids with some people and let them sexually abuse them or, whatever. And he took money for this. And I'm coming back to the previous thing that I said about his 76-year-old neighbor, where at that point, what happened actually was that Manolis gave the child to him for money. And when he said that I'm going to talk to the police for that, he took back the lawsuit and everything. So that's why this kind of transaction happened back then.
Wow.
Yeah. So after things got wild and after many pre-trial apologies from Manolis, every time he was adding something and taking something back, every time he was confusing the police with everything that he said, because his story couldn't match and he couldn't stick to what happened. Now, I'm going to tell you what happened, and this is kind of hard to hear, but considering the previous story with KiwaPlay, I think it's going to be more digestible at that point. So it was Thursday, December 3rd on 1993, when 6-year-old Nick gone to play with his friends. So he's coming back to the house around 6 p.m. His father asked where he was and why he came home so late, while they were fighting in the yard and yelling to each other and everything. The father slapped him a couple of times, bit him a little bit, and led him to the storeroom into the country yard of the house. And this is getting even more sick. So the child at that point was reacting bad and wouldn't want to go there. So Manolis placed him on the bench, stripped off his clothes, and after gagging him so he couldn't scream, he raped him. And then he covered his mouth and nose so he couldn't scream, because he was screaming a lot at that point. And after he realized what he has done, he wanted to make sure if he was dead or not. At that point, I don't know if he wanted him dead or if he did it accidentally. He says different things every time.
Yeah.
So at that point, he wasn't sure if he was dead. So what did he do? He took a fork and he pierced his body a couple of times to make sure that he's dead. And actually, the police found this little holes in his body, and they were like, he was pierced by something, but we cannot figure out how this happened. After he was pretty sure that the kid was dead, because he was a painter and a builder and everything, he had a little bit of tools and stuff like that, and he knew how to do certain stuff, so he tried to burn him. But this couldn't happen for him, so because he couldn't burn him, he needed to change the plan and do something. So he just went outside for a little bit to see if there was a witness, if somebody saw him or something. And he returned to the warehouse. He dressed the kid and left him with his arms, and he carried him to the place where the kid originally found. So he went back to the house, seeing his family, and said, "Where the hell is Nick? Where the hell is little Nick? We need to search for him. We need to, do this and that." Now
It's always the guy that cries wolf. Like, he's the wolf.
Yeah. And at that point, we go back to zero when everybody started searching for him and everything. But this is the story that I'm telling you that happened, actually. This is not the story that Manolis was saying to the police.
No.
It was way different than what he said.
Yeah.
So the thing is that every time that he went to the police, we're saying something very different, where it came to a point where he kind of confessed about everything that he did. And again, even when he was confessing, he was like, okay, I killed him, but I didn't rape him. Okay, I did this, but I didn't do that. I did this, but I didn't try to burn him. You know, it was every time it was so different. And I think that I have a video. I don't have it with subtitles, but you will see him just, I want to have the feel about how is this man, because a picture is way different from a video. So in this video, he's like trying to convince that he is innocent. He didn't do it at first. He didn't kill him. He didn't rape him. He didn't do anything. Let me share.
Να με στήσουν στα 4 μέτρα και να με εκτελέσουν. Αλλά εγώ είμαι αθώος. Δηλαδή υπάρχει ο άλλος ο εαυτός, Δεν υπάρχει βιασμός. Εγώ δεν έκανα αυτό το πράγμα. Έτσι πιστεύω.
At some point, he says that I killed him, but I didn't rape him. I didn't do this. And if I did, I'm a monster and you should burn me alive. And the media is asking them, are you another person? Was that another person inside of you that did it? And he was like,
personality.
I think not, he says. I think I didn't do it. I think I didn't do it. So they're asking him, like, how could you think that you didn't do anything? How are you not certain about your actions? So they're saying, that's what I believe. And they're asking him, are you having regrets of what you did? And he's like, I don't know. If I did it, then I'm the worst person and you should burn me alive. But I think I didn't do it.
They're always pleading for like being mentally ill or something.
Yes.
Like they can't be trialed because he doesn't know, he doesn't believe, but apparently he did, but like he doesn't remember.
Exactly. It is like he was blurry. And actually, that's what he's saying at that point, that he blamed it all to his PTSD he got while he was at war, because he was a veteran at the war in Cyprus. And since then, he's on pills and everything. So he's trying to blame everything to this. And he's trying to say that I was blurry. I didn't even know what I was doing. And if I did it, I'm a monster and you should burn me alive and everything. So his trial would rank amongst the most widely covered here in Greece back then. And it was assigned to a public defendant, Manolis, but no attorney was willing to undertake his case. But guess what he did? He said that he is going to change his testimony. Although he has confessed to do everything, he claimed that he didn't do it, that he is innocent, and he did it all. Wait for it, for his wife.
What?
He said that he was doing that to cover up his wife and her boyfriend, who probably did the thing. And in fact, on the kid's body, there were hair that were not matching his DNA.
What?
Exactly. So at that point, the jury was kind of confused. The attorney was saying, he is innocent. I'm going to prove it. He didn't do it. He was trying to cover up for his wife. And actually, he went public and said, I'm doing this for you, my love, because that's what you wanted me to do. And I hope you have a good life now. Although he was convicted and given a life sentence. And while he was transported to the jail, this unwritten law that I told you about before, here in Greece, they have it a lot. And when somebody that has done such a thing, especially to a little kid, they don't treat him the way they should or something. So they beat him up like the moment he was about to be transferred to his very first prison. So I have a little something from this part. Let's take a look at this. That's when he was transferred.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
He's like,
Yeah.
I'm very worried about my life right now. Before the van even started, they tried to attacking him, and that's him in jail right after he was bitten up and everything. So he was transferred to a maximum security prison at that point because, it was very dangerous of what happened. And around February 27th in 1996 at 6 p.m. sharp, it was exactly the time that his kid was returning from their friends and everything. Well, he found hanging with a TV table inside of his prison cell. And now the thing is that a lot of people are saying justice and everything, but there are lots of questions. And that's why I told you in the beginning of the story that even though this case is closed, there are still some questions. So a lot of people are saying that he's innocent. A lot of people are saying that he's super guilty. Well, most of the people are saying that he's guilty, but he was shouting out loud in the prison that he was innocent. His wife said that she was going to go to the highest top of the court to prove his innocence. And not long after, he stopped visiting him along with his children. Now, there is also a little urban legend, I would say, that is saying that Manolis Duris was possessed some years ago. And that's why he did what he did. And at that point, I need to ask you, what do you think?
I'm stunned. Where's the mother? Why is she trying to prove that he's innocent when he's now claiming it's all her fault?
I don't even know, because at first she said that he's not mentally well and everything, and whatever he's saying, like, don't believe him, he's innocent, he is just blurry and everything. And the fact that the hair was on the child and everything, it was kind of weird. It wasn't the mother's though, the hair. So we don't even know.
It wasn't her hair, okay?
No, it wasn't her hair.
But like this ominous boyfriend, does he exist? Like the boyfriend of the mother?
Nobody know about that. Like, she claimed that she is innocent. She claims that he is innocent, and she kept her silence since then, and not talking about any boyfriends, not talking about anything that is going on with her life. And yeah, that was this fucked up situation. That's why I told you that our stories are kind of in the same line. But this is This was one of the cruelest stories back in the 90s here in Greece.
Well, I think the hair that comes from someone else, if he gave his children, was this ever true? Did he give his children away to other people for money?
Yes, that was true.
Okay, so this was true.
Yes, was true.
And the wife claimed to not know that?
Yeah, she said that she didn't know anything about it. And after this, she said, I don't want to talk about anything. Like, I have the right to remain silent and stuff like that. So, yeah.
You're guilty.
Yes.
You're guilty.
She didn't got a penalty. She didn't got a time. She didn't do anything.
Because she didn't talk.
Yes. And the children
Wow.
were swearing to God that their father was the best, and they were talking so good about him, and he was the perfect father and stuff. Although he beat him up, but they said, we deserved it.
Yeah, but
So
did the children like they know that was wrong that they got like sold for money? Like, did they not were glad that this was over? Or did they justify that as well?
I
Like, what happened
think
to them?
I think that he was given away his younger children. So these children didn't even know what was happening back then, because he was on public and he was trying to describe that in the past, a 76-year-old man we had an issue because he was doing something to one of my children, and his children and wife was right next to him when he was saying all of this to the public. And they were like, oh yes, this man, yeah, he did bad thing, but like nobody was wondering about this.
Yeah, nobody talked about it until the little boy was dead, and then people talked like he was abusive with the children and stuff.
Exactly.
That's also very sus, because when you say like he gave the children away to like people they knew and it's a small town, like everybody could have been involved.
Everybody.
Like,
Everybody.
sick. That's
Yes.
insane. That's
So the question is still out there, and there are still channels and people covering for this story.
I would think he did it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And that's why he also killed himself, because being in the prison already, being handled like this because he's a pedophile and stuff, that is just known in prison. Like, when you fondle with kids and you go in prison for it, you can't even sit with like the bad guys. Like,
Yeah.
you're even worth more, like less than just dirt on the floor. And I think like this, together with like the imagery, even if he did all of that for his wife and her boyfriend, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, dude, like, what does he gain from this? Nothing. There is no motive at all. He did it. 100% he did it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think as well. Because even today, most of the people who are still talking about this case, they said that he was fucked up anyway, and the whole family was fucked up, and the community didn't even want them to this village at all. And right now, not right now, but back then, right after a couple of years from the incident, the mother couldn't find job to where they were living, and the kids too. So they were saying that we cannot make a living because nobody is hiring us and nobody is caring and everything. So after everything that happened, we cannot make a living out of it because we live under the shadow of what happened. And can somebody blame like the community? I'll blame them for not talking earlier.
Yeah. I mean, it's just sus that nobody in the family can tell one straight story. Like, no one. Like, the wife claims she doesn't know anything. The husband said she had a boyfriend. There is no trace of a boyfriend. He said he sold his children for sexual transactions and shit to other people. The children say that's not true, or like, we deserved it, and like nobody can tell a straight story. That's like they've been manipulated from a young age to believe like a certain thing or some mindset that the parents like forced onto them, and like it's just like narcissism, manipulative stories of lies, like, and nobody can, like, when you're that deep into lies, you fail to make like an excuse or to be consistent with it. That's why every time he talked to the police, his story changed a little bit, because you only can remember things that directly happened the way they did. You wouldn't claim something that's not there. And
he wasn't that educated. So his words were not make sense at some points, and his mindset was a little bit, kind of low and stuff. So at first, the police said, a village man, he cannot even talk. Maybe he looks sus at first. Then he may be, not being completely clear his mind and everything. But the fact that he went to the police to just say, my son is dead, we need to find him, let's go.
Yeah, like he
how do you know,
already
dude?
knew. Yeah, like he it was like a slip. It was a slip up that in his mind, like he already knew that he was dead because he did it.
Yeah.
But then but again, parents would go about it with hope. Hopefully we can find my child alive, and I hope it is okay and stuff. And he instantly went to, he's dead. We need to find him. What?
Yeah. Gee.
I'm pretty sure he did it. Is it proven that he had like a mental illness or something? Was that evaluated at all?
Well,
Like personality, multiple personality disorder or something?
No, he didn't have any of that. But he said that he was on pills and stuff like that. He was tested by the doctors, but they were saying that, yeah, he's got this illness, this PTSD and everything, but that's the only thing it got. And he was like, I'm blurry. I didn't even know. I'm not sure if I did and stuff like that.
I mean, PTSD doesn't make you sell your children to other people for sexual shit. Like,
well, yeah.
That's crazy. Wow, disgusting.
Yeah, that is so fucked up. Exactly.
And I don't know, when I hear stories like that, it always is saddening to me, or just this, that he was able to take his own life, because the reason why you're not allowed to do this in prison is because you have to sit your sentence out. That's why they take everything that is like could be damaging to you. They take it out if they recognize that you have like suicidal thoughts or something. And
exactly. And talking about life sentence is not as it sounds. Is not you don't get there for your whole life. No. It is some years. So he maybe could have gone out or something.
Yeah, but he was not able to endure everything that was happening to him in prison.
No,
and probably also with like the actions he did, because which you are not, we all saw that with like the pandemic. When you're alone with yourself for a very long time, doesn't matter how fun of a person you are, it messes up with your brain. And
oh yes.
How long was he in prison? When did he take his own life? Like not 1 month, right? Not even.
No. He took his life around 2 years, I think, after that happened.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was
well,
9.
yeah. Then he had some time to sit there, endure like everything from the other prison mates, and from probably also from the guardian people there, and
yeah.
And then the memories of what he did, and being so alone with himself, maybe even hallucinating or something. That he got to take the easy way, I do have to say, I feel is a shame.
Yeah.
I can't believe how people think that he was innocent because of this story that he construed. He was never consistent. How would you believe he's innocent?
Exactly.
Like,
911, where is your emergency?
Why are you here? He's in the bedroom with her. I want you to stay on the telephone.